Welcome to Talkin' Bengals, your home for innovative insights into all things Bengals. Follow Talkin' Bengals on Facebook and Instagram at Talkin' Bengals or listen on your preferred podcast app. Now, let's start talking.
Hello and welcome into Talking Bengals. We are here for your tears and your sadness, but your optimism as well, because the season is not over yet. The Bengals still have a chance to get into the playoffs even after that abomination where the scumbags stole Christmas. I guess that's the best way to call it there. Just, oh man, total abomination of a game. But, looking at it, even the Bengals Super Bowl years, they have games like that. They have times where they just look like they've never played football before. But it just awful. But we are joined finally again this week by Burns. Burns, we're good to know you're still alive. Okay, here's
Glad to know his
microphone.
mic still doesn't work.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Are we there? Are we working?
Yeah, we got you now.
All right. Well, the flu came and got us, and apparently I still can't work technology, so.
That's not shocking. Nick, how you doing?
Doing all right. Just doing good.
Josh?
Oh, we're still here. We'll figure it out.
You can tell by the somberness in everybody's voice, just like all of you Bengals fans, that sucked the life right out of us. I mean, just abomination, abysmal. And it's one of those where as soon as you saw the first long pass to Pickens, you're just like, this is going to be a long day. And that's what it turned out to be. So we're not going to be brutal and recap the entire game. We're just going to go straight into 3 cheers and 3 jeers and talk about whatever cheers we can find. And each of us is going to pick a different topic. That's our big point of contention. And since he's just fresh back to us, Burns, I'll let you take it first. Go with your cheers and jeers.
My jeer would be that we went backwards with the run game and we combined 15 carries for 59 yards between Chase and Mixon together. So that would be my jeer, excuse me. My cheer, oh man, there wasn't really much. I guess it would be Browning's yardage. He went for 335. So those are the only 2 spotlights I really had.
Nick?
We'll do a cheer. T. Higgins getting that longest reception of his career so far. Congratulations. Obviously, that's something to be applauded. The jeer, I'm going to say everybody but Hendrickson on the defense.
Fair.
I mean, cornerbacks got roasted. Wouzier, bleh. I'm not going to go into it. It stresses me out to see somebody who gets paid professionally to play football and still can't cover a freaking tight end. We knew that we had to cover a tight end. We still couldn't do it. Anyways. All right, Josh. Sorry.
Well, my cheer is going to be much the same. It's going to be T. Higgins. 140 yards. He had a great game. And then my jeer is the entire coaching staff. Every single one of them were so ill-prepared for life in the AFC North. They're 8-2 throughout the entire rest of the league. The rest of the losses come against the North. If you can't win the North, you can't make the playoffs.
Definitely makes it a lot harder. So my cheer, I'm not going to repeat T, so I have nothing. Like, there's nothing that I walked away from that game, because even T's yardage, that was one big catch. It could be the blind squirrel theory on that one. He gets all those yards on one catch. Otherwise, he has a very pedestrian day. So good on him to make that one good play. But walking out of that stadium, it had to be deflated. And my jeer, I'm going to go a totally different route since you guys have mentioned all the big ones. Mine is the Pittsburgh Steelers stadium staff and organization. Because I don't know if you guys read the story. They were kicking Bengals fans out of the game for standing and cheering. So somebody's got to bleep it out. But F you, Pittsburgh, and your scummy, crappy facilities, your ownership, and everything about you, because that is classless. considering how many Bengals Steelers games I've been to in Cincinnati where I've seen people get punched, kicked, beer thrown on them, and a Steelers fan didn't get kicked out. That is a classless organization. I can't give them any respect anymore. It used to be begrudging. But the fact you threw other opposing teams' fans out for standing and cheering for their team, you can kiss my you know what. Pittsburgh, there's no love here at all. Take it and shove it. It is what it is. Kept it PG as I could, guys.
They also ruined Renegade for me. Like, I love Sticks, and yeah, that ruined it for me.
Yep. So they're definitely just making us hate them even more. But if you've ever been to Pittsburgh, there's nothing to write home about. It's a crappy place. So at least we don't live in Pittsburgh. That's the good news. Anyways, moving back into football. So yeah, just bad game. Let's not focus too much on it from here on out. The coaching staff is one area that I want to get into because Zach wanted to put back up a poll, but I never found what the original questions were, so I kind of revamped it and did it a different way. What is the big problem? So we saw, leading in the poll, I'm pretty sure it was Zach last time I looked. So we put it up on, Talking Bengals Facebook page. If you haven't gone out there, I think it's still open for another day. Cast your vote, let us know. But if you had to fire one person, is it going to be, or, it's going to be Lou, Zach, Frank, Brian, all of them or none of them? And Josh, I'll let you run with it first. Out of those, what are you going to do?
I mean, it's almost got to be Pollock. I mean, they have completely thrown everything away and revamped the entire offensive line with proven guys that have shown that they are good in this league. And he still cannot get them on the same page. He cannot get them working as a unit to actually protect our quarterback. I'd say it's kind of the obvious choice there in terms of, who needs to lose their job. But, I mean, the entire coach staff as a whole, I think, needs to have a rude awakening. And I hope that this was the rude awakening, but if experience tells us anything, it's not. I'm going to pass it over to Barnes.
Well, my question is going to be, obviously Frank is a common denominator for our offensive line struggles, but is Brian Callahan even part of the scheme on the week-to-week basis, or is it all Zach Taylor drawing it up? And if he's not, then what is Brian Callahan's role? Because he clearly isn't doing anything for this offense either. So if you had to put it on the shoulders, it would definitely be Frank first, then maybe Brian Callahan, and then Zach Taylor. Don't get me wrong. Lou has had some struggles with his schemes and preparing for the second half this year, or whatever you want to call it. But I think those are the first three issues that you have when it comes to this offense. They're just not performing. The game plan, the play calling is just abysmal. It's inconsistent. So that's where I'm going to lay my hat, is in those three baskets first. And then, we'll see how the season finishes out before we make any decisions on Lou. Nick?
Yeah, first I'm going to fire Burnsy's cameraman because this is 2023. We're getting ready to be 2024, and I still can't see like the difference between your mustache and your mouth. But anyways,
Protecting your identity.
Lou, I don't know that I would put too much on Lou right now. I mean, really, it's the inexperience, not picking up the coverage when they pass it off. I don't know that that's on Lou. Like Josh was saying about Frank, he's the common denominator, Burnsy, like you were saying. But I mean, to be quite honest with you, it all kind of falls down on the head coach and his people, right? I mean, essentially, it's the main guy and who makes the decisions on doing what. Zach Taylor, God bless you. You're probably a great guy. You're probably a great head coach. Please stop calling the plays. Please, for the love of all that is holy, please stop calling the plays. Okay? Please. If you're going to have an offensive coordinator, let him call the plays. Right? I would fire him just based on principle because he won't stop freaking calling plays. Like, he's not the offensive coordinator. He's there as the head coach to delegate and to bring the team together. He's not there to be the offensive coordinator. His brother's an offensive coordinator and does a pretty darn good job. If you want to go be an offensive coordinator, be an offensive coordinator. Don't be a head coach. You're a head coach, be a head coach. Let your offensive coordinator do his job. If he can't do it, fire Brian. Fire Brian and get somebody else. Brian's a good guy. He's nice. He's done a decent job somewhat. But I think, honestly, at this point, fire Brian, bring in somebody that Zach can have confidence in calling plays.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. I think an issue that, we talk about the offenses having problems, but the last couple weeks, we've been talking about, Zach Taylor's doing a good job. The play calling is good. I don't know what happened to him this week as far as that goes. Like, let's just run back-to-back wide receiver screen passes, basically, and they both get blown up. Let's just keep being predictable as we can. But a lot of that play calling goes into you look bad when your quarterback does dumb crap. And Browning literally was doing nothing but dumb crap out there. On that one, I was trying to throw it away. So now we know Browning's a liar, too. Because that first interception, dude, you were throwing it up there and hoping T was coming out of nowhere like Chase does for Burrow. There's no way you were trying to throw that out of bounds, or else you'd have thrown it 10 yards down the field out of bounds. You wouldn't have tried to chuck it all the way to the end zone to get it out of bounds. That makes zero sense. You're out of the tackle box. All you got to do is throw it beyond the line of scrimmage. Not a big deal. But I'm not blaming the offensive coaches because they put together some great game plans the last 3 weeks before the Steelers game. The person who, in my opinion, is on the hook is Lou. Why? Because the defense has sucked all year long. And when I say that, turnovers is the only thing that has saved them. And how many of those turnovers have not even been the defense making a play? It's the offense giving them a gift. Nick Mullins hit you in the face mask with one. Some of these other interceptions are literally telegraphed right to you. You couldn't drop it. None of us would drop it, even at the age we are now. It's literally hitting you in the breadbasket or in the hands. But the defense is terrible. I don't know what happened, and Nick's going to try to come after me after this one. Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt suck this year. They are ranked in the lowest quarter of linebackers when you look at PFF rankings. They're bad. I don't know what happened to them. They used to be able to cover. Now they can't cover. Pratt looked like I can't use the word, but a word that rhymes with snitch on that touchdown run where they just ran him over. A small guy ran him over. You're a linebacker who's known for his power and his grip strength and rip people down, and you're letting tiny guys run you over? And Cheeto, I appreciate the fact that he took accountability for that it's his fault on those routes. I applaud you for that. But, man, how much garbage can you look like? And then Dax Hill, that first touchdown, how do you take out the corner that's covering the guy, which is the fastest person on the field, and then just, and Pratt didn't even – the defense is bad. Hendrickson is streaky. He has a lot of good plays, but he disappears for long stretches of time. He's like the football equivalent of Jay Bruce in his prime. He'll hit you 15 to 20 home runs in 40 games, and then he disappears for a while. Trey does fantastic. He'll get 3 or 4 sacks in a game, and then he looks average. He doesn't look very impressive at other points. So, I don't know what happened to Lou. Maybe Jesse Bates and Von Bell were Lou's secret weapons, and Jesse Bates may be Defensive Player of the Year this year. But still, 2 safeties can't make or break your defense.
They did, though. But they did.
But they can't. Yeah, but I don't know.
They picked up those deep coverages and they made the plays on the long passes. We didn't have deep balls thrown against us because they picked up those receivers on the long balls.
Not to mention Bell coming in.
Yeah. But you know who else? And people are going to say, you're stupid, you're crazy. Eli Apple did a good job for us. He did not get burned that often. He played well at corner. He looked better than Cheeto. Cheeto did this last couple games. So, I'm not saying I want Eli Apple back, but, everybody hated on him, but since he's gone, the secondary without CTB is suspect. The cornerback room is very suspect without CTB.
Let's talk about that then, because that's the real answer is CTB. Without him, this, like you said, they're suspect. It's not Eli Apple. Eli Apple didn't make this defense. Eli Apple was getting burned almost every game, at least 3 or 4 plays.
He wasn't giving up that many big plays, or maybe he was just getting lucky. Maybe he was just getting help. But
he definitely had help.
Bates and Hall.
Exactly. You
but your number one quarter. Yeah, I'm not saying he's great, but I would take him over what we got going on right now.
Well, the thing is, he also did make some pretty good plays. Yeah, he got burnt a lot. It was either you're going to burn him all game and you're going to pick up a nice 75-yard touchdown, or he's going to get a sack. Not a sack. He's going to get an interception. So he was either boom or bust too.
But all I'm saying is, hey, ho, ho, Lou has got to go because he is not the wizard we all gave him credit for. The fact that you've had all season, I get it. You don't have the talent you once had. Fine. That's totally understandable. But any of us in our line of work, if we lose some of our best people, are we going to be like, well, I guess we can't win. We're just going to hope for turnovers. And if we don't get turnovers, we don't know how to cover on the same pass plays over and over and over again. It's not like they're getting burned by the best receivers in football.
They're getting burnt by Mason or by the freaking tight end. I mean, come on.
By the tight end and fourth string quarterbacks. I mean, we're going to get to it, but that kind of
tight end. The tight end. Cover the damn tight end. There's my P.
They never can.
So let's just keep going down this depressing route, and then we'll get into our also depressing Who Dey History later. But let's look at the Chiefs, because I'll tell you what, they are not looking like themselves, which is nice. The problem is you have the get-right defense just waiting for Patrick Mahomes right now. And I'm just scratching my head like, unless he gives up a bunch of turnovers like he did against the Raiders, which that was a crazy game. How do you have no completions in 3 out of the 4 quarters? I don't even understand how that happens. But I'm concerned because he doesn't typically have back-to-back bad games. And our secondary is basically made up of ghost men, like we're playing wiffle ball in the backyard. So, Josh, what do you think about the Chiefs preview?
You know, call me crazy, but I actually feel good about it. There's not really much of anything on the Chiefs that scare me on an offensive side of the ball. Receivers cannot catch, and Mahomes is getting very frustrated with his receivers. There's a rift happening on that team, and an opportunistic defense that the Bengals have. I mean, we just talked about, how much they suck at times, and yeah, they do suck. They get burnt, but you got a team that can't seem to catch the ball, so I don't know if it's really going to matter as much if they get burnt, because Kadarius Toney's not catching anything. He can get 20 yards past the safeties and drop the ball in the end zone. So, I mean, I feel like it's an opportunity for the Bengals to hopefully come out there. The thing about the Bengals is they know how to play against everybody except AFC North opponents. So their offense and defense game plan is tailored toward beating a team like the Chiefs. So I think they got a decent chance. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. But Mahomes isn't inspiring confidence. Mahomes is not inspiring any confidence in anybody. Kelsey's throwing his hissy fits on the sideline now too. So I feel like something's happening to that team. They're starting to break down. I hope the Bengals can just push them a little bit more.
All right, Nick, what are your thoughts on the Chiefs preview? No prediction.
So what I'm thinking is I'm thinking the same thing that Josh has been saying. I mean, essentially you're seeing a Patrick Mahomes who's getting frustrated with his receivers. He doesn't have a Tyreek Hill anymore. He doesn't have, a couple key receivers that he needed. to look better. There's nobody to take the pressure off of Kelsey because, well, I mean, they can't even get lined up on sides properly. And I mean, that's Pee Wee football 101. That, you know, the Pop Warner ball or wherever you are, whatever you call it, you know, the little kid football. Line up on sides, you know, make sure your wide receiver is not past the line of scrimmage. Anyways, I mean, I could definitely see Patrick Mahomes getting mad about something like that. I mean, that's football 101. You know, I'd be mad about it too. But at the same token, I mean, you can't get so mad about it that it ruins your team chemistry. I think Patrick Mahomes he is not a leader in the aspect of bringing morale up. He is more of a performer leader. You know, someone who's not real vocal about being able to bring everybody up to his level, as opposed to just simply going out and just performing. I think that's right. The reason why he's got that C on his shoulder is just simply because he goes out and somehow makes things happen. I've been saying it for years. At some point, Patrick Mahomes is going to have either a season-ending injury or a career-ending injury, and because he just will not get rid of the ball when he needs to. And I know the refs love to call the penalties when the defense is going to hit him when he's acting like he's running along the sidelines. And then at the very last second, right before he gets hit, he juts out of bounds while the guy's already in the air. Well, the ref's going to call a 15-yard penalty, but they're not going to have a quarterback. I mean, I think in the one quarter, the punter had a better completion percentage than Patrick Mahomes did. So, I mean, all joking aside, I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Bengals are going to come out and get their head out of their butts, and I think Lou's going to let a fire underneath someone's butt on the defense. And you're going to see some rushing, and they really need to have a competition within themselves, see who can get to Patrick Mahomes the most. You know, and whoever gets to him the most, everybody buys him steak dinner all week. I mean, something. You know, go to Jeff Ruby's all week the next week. You know, I mean, but anyways, yeah. I mean, keys to the. I mean, you want to do the key victory, like keys to winning.
We'll get to that a little bit more. It's just looking at the Chiefs. So
yeah, I'm not really too worried about Pat though.
We think it's still Zach. We can't really see him, but Zach, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
The fuzzy guy in the corner.
I thought you were still talking, Nick, so I apologize. Yeah,
I can still talk if you want me to.
I mean, it's all good. I love you, bro. So the biggest thing I wrote down for my pre-notes was, you know, both of these teams are limping coming into this game, just licking the salt of their wounds, both losing divisional games, divisional rivalry games at that. And so the Chiefs still obviously have a better position, but they have less to lose because they can still win their division. The Bengals, you know, hey, if they lose, okay, they were done. They're in the 10 seed anyway. They're not even technically in right now. So if they lose, okay, whatever. So the Bengals have more to take away from the Chiefs than the Bengals have to lose in this game. I think the defense is still going to have to take away Kelsey for once in our lives this season. You know, cover the tight end, double, triple cover him, quadruple cover him, whatever you got to do, take him away and force Patrick Mahomes to go a different route. Hopefully Cam Taylor-Britt, we were talking about CTP earlier. Hopefully he comes back. He's been out the last 4 weeks because the secondary needs his help clearly. Cheeto, DJ, Jordan, I don't think they could cover a child with a blanket this last week. I mean,
that is actually incredibly difficult.
It's true.
We all have kids.
Hey, but you know what? You still get you can still do it, right?
Yeah, it's possible, but it's a fight.
They weren't doing that with George Pickens. Okay, so it didn't matter who you put on him. He was finding a way to get open. So it is what it is. And best part for the Bengals right now is that Patrick Mahomes is not an MVP. Patrick Mahomes right now, so that bodes well for us. And then this defense, their defense, I should say, is beatable. Their secondary, is having struggles as well. They're not having good ability tackling the ball either. Shoot. Hey, maybe we run the football again. It's crazy. They had 3 backs yesterday that were very productive for the Raiders. I don't know. Maybe we get back to that running game like we had a couple weeks ago.
That seems crazy. Run the ball? What? When we had success? Goodness, we're not going to rehash the entire AFC North debacle. 0-5, first time going winless since 2002 with Dick LeBeau as your coach. But we won't go there yet. We'll wait till
Such
after
a
the
bad
Browns
year.
game.
Don't bring that up.
Yeah, we'll wait till after the Browns game to figure out if we have to go down that depressive route or not.
I'll be wearing a brown bag at that point.
But the Chiefs, they're beatable. The thing that scares me is I get the Steelers are a rival, but they were down on their luck, lost to 2 2-win teams, had Mason freaking Rudolph as their quarterback, who only has a winning record against the Bengals. But in their secondary, they got a guy off the practice squad and a guy off the street. And you lose. Not even lose, get demolished. So if I was Patrick Mahomes, I'd be like, thank God this terrible Bengals defense is coming into my house. And I'm just going to throw it to Kelsey because since we don't have Trey Flowers anymore, we don't know how to cover tight ends. We're just like, Logan Wilson forgot how to play coverage, even though he's a secondary guy in parts of his career in college. But just cover people. Just stick them. Just stay with them. Honestly, what I would say to do, and this is more Bengals and Chiefs. Sorry, I'm cheating on my own segment here. But if CTB is back, I'll tell Cheeto, this is your shot at redemption. You're staying with Kelsey all game long. You're the biggest corner we have. Stick him. Stay with him. And if you shut him down, you've totally redeemed yourself from last week's debacles. So, hey, it gives them a chance. But the Chiefs, I just have the same sinking feeling I had in my gut last week. I was like, people are sleeping on the Steelers. I'm not sure. It's just one of those where maybe the Bengals need turnovers to be successful. The Chiefs are very beatable, but I don't know if the defense is going to make it happen. So before we go into our full-on keys to victory and prediction time, let's get into Who Dey History. This is a sadder topic, but we're going to try to look at the good parts of it, not try to sink too much into the sad parts. But Chris Henry, take it away, Nick.
Chris Henry, Papal just had to start blowing his horn in the background for you, Casey. Anyways, Chris Henry, what a receiver, great athletic talent. It's a shame that, he passed away when he did. Just simply talking about football side of things. What could have been with Chris Henry? The amazing talent that he had, the smile that he brought on the football field. It was obviously, being the other side of Chad Ochocinco. Come on. The guy was T. Higgins, just better. He could high point a ball, one-handed like Randy Moss, and he was big, just a physical guy when he went up for the ball. It was amazing to watch, to be a Bengals fan at the time when Chris Henry was playing, because you had two receivers that could just get open in a phone booth. Then you had TJ Hushmanzada, my man. I don't care where he was on the football field. You throw it to him, he's catching it. And screw you if you say otherwise. And there's my second one. Sorry.
PG-13 today.
Yeah, we might go to R here in a minute if we keep on going down this road. But Chris Henry, what a guy, what a football player. What could have been with this man? The amount of talent. He was just coming into his own too. So, wow. Bernsey, what do you got to say?
Well, I worked at McDonald's on 42 way back in the day. And Chris would always come through the drive-thru, and he would just make the entire staff just smile, light up, because he had just how nice he was. to everybody. Didn't matter if you were the cashier, if you were working behind the grill, whatever the case may be. He was just super happy to be there, happy that you were taking care of him. And then every once in a while, he tipped generously for a couple of my coworkers. So that just tells you the testament of who he really was. I know Chris got a lot of a bad rap with the use of marijuana during that time and things like that. But he was human, and it was nice to see that from one of the a big premier player that you get in our community. So, Casey.
So with Chris Henry, there's so many different aspects. He's a very complex individual. Came out of West Virginia, had some things going on there. Fast, super fast, great abilities, and he had a lot of problems early in his career, mostly off the field problems. I mean, it'd be funnier if the poor guy wasn't deceased, but he had his own Bud Light Presents commercial about him. When you get arrested in your Cincinnati Bengals jersey and say it's not you. I mean, it's just one of those where he had a lot of struggles early on in his career financially off the field. He blew through a lot of money, but he was getting himself right. That's probably one of the saddest parts of this whole story is he was getting himself right. He had started to take more of a responsibility. He wasn't getting in trouble off the field. He was becoming a teammate that teammates really liked having. He was becoming the person he wanted to be. And then just to pass away so tragically in the manner that it happened, it's just a crime. I mean, he had that big catch in the playoff game, Palmer to him, right when Palmer's knee got blown out. I mean, we thought, sitting in that stadium, you thought, okay, here we go. This is going to be the game. And then Palmer's hurt, he's hurt. But that's probably my biggest Chris Henry memory. It's because for like 10 seconds, that pass got completed. You're like, here we go. This is our year. And then just air left the building. And he had a lot of great plays. I don't even blame poor Kidna. If we're going to ever – that's an off-season thing. We're going to go back and relitigate all of these playoff losses just to hate ourselves. We're going to do that. But
sounds like a great time. Great time.
That one is not on Kidna. That one was on Marvin Lewis getting out-coached. I mean, if I'm just being honest, he got out-coached. It is what it is.
He got out-coached a lot.
Yeah. That's not – we're just going to call it like we're going to pick a month in the off-season. We're just going to say this is 4 depressing episodes that we're going to relive crap that we don't ever want to talk about again just because we hate ourselves. Let's pick a month and do that. Just kidding.
Pick March.
That'd be horrible. Let's pick a long month with lots of Tuesdays. Anyway, sorry, back to Chris Henry before I kick it to Josh. A lot of respect for the guy. Really sad. I remember I was actually on a vacation with my family when it happened, and Chad Johnson was the most tore up I've ever seen somebody about that. Like, he was just broke his heart. He was not the same the rest of the year. He did the best he could, but you could just tell that weight was just on him for the rest of that season. But Chris Henry, what could have been, miss you. Wish you could have had a longer career and obviously a much longer life. Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking up some stats about Chris Henry. I mean, yeah, he played for 5 seasons. Doesn't sound like a lot. 1,826 yards, 119 catches. But that's an average of 15 yards a catch. So, I mean, he had the big playability, and he was a stud. And any corner that was covering him, he was like a head taller. He was a big dude. Yeah, he had his off the field issues. And unfortunately, that's something that cost him his life, and we would love to have seen what his career could have been. But yeah, like Casey was saying, I mean, just today I was going back through the Chris Henry stuff, and I saw the video of Chad Johnson talking in the locker room. And it was eating him alive. Then the first touchdown he got, he dedicated to Chris Henry, undid his helmet, and he just got down on his knees, and you could tell he felt every single ounce of his emotions start to just come to him. Yeah, I mean, Chris Henry, he was a good receiver, and he was somebody that I would love to have seen what could have been. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see that. His son's coming up. I think he's going to Ohio State. So
I'll say, yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah, I think so.
And that's another cool connection. There's the Adam Jones connection. So they were, friends in college, and then he also helped him start getting on the right track because Pac-Man had a lot of issues early in his career.
Yeah.
So
he didn't.
He had a lot of issues throughout his entire career, and even after.
Yeah, so
Pac-Man.
spot check me on
Pac-Man. I guarantee Pac-Man was a great dude. Just I think people just like to just make him mad. Like for some reason, I just think that they poked the bear, and I don't. I always prayed for Pac-Man to just let it go. Just let it go, Pac-Man.
Back to the Pac-Man and Chris Henry Jr. Did he actually adopt him, or is he just like his godfather? I can't remember which way it is.
Pretty sure he
spends a lot of time.
Yeah, he had filed for it. I'm pretty sure the application got approved. But good on Pac-Man, right? Like just stepping in and taking over that role. You see Dion do that. Like he did that Noel Devine at West Virginia, where he tried to step in and adopt him to be the father for him. So good on Pac-Man. Pac-Man does a lot of good in this community, even though he gets a lot of bad rap too. So Pac-Man, we love you, bro.
I said Pac-Man's
I may not
good
like
dude.
you other places, but we love you here in Cincinnati area. I'll tell you that.
Pac-Man's a good dude. It's just I think people like to poke the bear. And
one thing about Pac-Man, actually, I've met him quite a few times. He is actually a really good dude. I mean, he can be a little bit short at times, but I mean, he seemed like the employees at the pizza restaurant he used to own. Well, his wife owned it, but they loved him. I've talked to him a few times there. He is really a good dude. Not very tall. I'm taller than he is. I was like, huh. I mean, he's a little bit more stout than I am, but
Probably faster too.
a little.
give or take a foot, a step or two,
Well, at least we got to see that there is a positive light at the end of the Chris Henry story. And if you haven't seen the Who Dey History stories, because it's not up yet, but it will be up soon. So check out the Chris Henry Who Dey History recap, and we'll talk about Pac-Man and how he's getting involved and the steps that happen afterwards. But let's move into our keys to victory and our predictions for this week. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Josh.
All right. Start off keys to victory. It's going to be coaching staff has to actually come up with a plan that's going to work on the team that they're playing this week. They didn't do that last week. I think they were coming up with a game plan that they were trying to test out for the Chiefs. It just didn't work on the Steelers. Run the ball. You do not have Joe Burrow under center. You have to run the ball. And that's been abundantly clear. I mean, you have a backup. He's a very good backup, very capable at times, but you have to have the complementary football. You can't just say, all right, we're going to run the ball 15 times for the whole game, and you're going to throw it the rest of the time. It doesn't work. It doesn't work on a backup, and, I mean, at times it doesn't even work on starters. I mean, you have to have complementary football in this league, especially in this division. So run the ball, establish Chase Brown. I mean, he's the fresh legs. He's got the speed. He's got the lateral movement. Get the running game started, and then you can win. I truly think you can beat this reeling Chiefs team. So I'm going to say, I keep doing it. I'm just going to say Bengals are going to win. I'm just getting myself.
What do you think the score's going to be, Josh?
I think Chris Jones is going to have a good time against this offensive line. So I think it's going to put some pressure on the offense, and it's probably going to be maybe 21-17. Gonna be a close one. Go ahead, Nick.
Gonna let Burnsy go. He looks like he's ready.
I'm always ready.
How can you tell?
He was leaning forward.
His blur is not as bad.
My blur's not as bad. Let's go.
You just run so fast, you're like a blur.
Let's be honest. We've all watched me run. I am not fast.
Let's be honest. Yes.
No, God, I can't even run on a baseball field, let alone a football field. Anyway,
Normal field.
I pretty much gave all my keys to the victory already. So I'm just gonna second what Josh was saying about the run game. If you got to run the football, you got to run more than 15 times in order for it to balance out, because that's how you kept Browning out of trouble. And we weren't doing a whole lot of that on last week, so that's going to be the key focus number one. I've said it like 6 weeks in a row now. So just run the football, okay? And then secondary's got to cover people. Pratt, you got to not get blown up by a running back that's like half your size. Logan Wilson, you gotta be involved in the game somehow. And Trey, you got to stop making boneheaded mistakes. You're costing our team, jumping off sides, hitting the quarterback late. Like, come on, big guy. I know you want it. I know you want to win, but you gotta play mentally tough, man. So I think as long as we do all of those things, if we get CTP back, I'm gonna go history repeating 27-24 Who Dey.
Yeah, I like it. So I'll actually go ahead and just jump in there. I'll let Nick close out because he's got an optimistic view, and you guys know my MO. It's not always optimistic. So it's going to go one of two ways. I'll only give one score prediction, but it's going to go one of two ways. And this is the entire key to the entire game. Either the Bengals defense gets turnovers or they lose. It's as simple as that. No matter how well the offense plays, in a track meet with Patrick Mahomes, whether he has a blind squirrel as his receiver, somehow he just gets lucky, you're not going to beat him in a track meet. So the defense has to make turnovers because the Raiders don't beat the Chiefs if Patrick Mahomes doesn't beat himself. I mean, just being honest, making boneheaded plays, holding on to the ball too long, telegraphing a pass. So defense, when you have opportunities for turnovers, you have to make it happen. Otherwise, you're going to lose the game. And that is a very hard pill to swallow, and it's a hard thing. I'm not a betting person. I've said that every single week. But I don't see the Bengals winning this game. I just don't. I think it'll be close. It's not going to be a blowout. I'm not going to call like 42-0 or something crazy. But I think it's going to come down to just they don't get enough turnovers. Browning looks okay, but he doesn't look great. He looks like an average backup quarterback would. So I'm going to go with 23-16 Chiefs. Go ahead, bring us back.
All right, I'm going to say Casey sucks, and I'm just going to speak for every Who Dey Nation person here. I think that Jake Browning gets his head out of his butt, and I think that this week was a huge eye-opening for him. With getting out of the pocket, not making those chancy throws downfield to just toss it up randomly. I don't think he was trying to throw it out of bounds, because if he was trying to throw it out of bounds, it would have gone way out of bounds. There was a receiver on that line. It's just he was about 15 yards short. Anyways, I think Jake Browning gets his head out of his butt. I think that we run the ball, 30, 35 times and just pick apart their defense. Keys to the game, you got to run the ball like what Burns and Josh were saying. You got to run the ball, control the time of possession, keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. Like Casey was saying, he's definitely very lucky being able to escape somehow in a lot of different circumstances. When you get your hands on him, don't let him go. You got to get the pressure on Patrick Mahomes, get those coverage sacks. And I think that's the key to victory on defense for us, along with the turnovers. we need to get 2, maybe 3 turnovers. I think Pratt's going to have a big game. To get one of those coverage interceptions with the pressure coming in from Hendrickson and from the middle on somebody coming up the middle on a blitz, or Mike Hilton coming off the edge on a blitz. I think that's going to cause an interception, and Pratt's going to get it. It wouldn't be the first time he's done it, so I don't think I'm going off on a limb. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I know you guys are saying 20-something to, whatever. I think we're probably looking more closely to like a 15-14 game. Bengals, last-second field goal. I think the Bengals get 5 field goals. 15-14.
Hey, that is a bold one. I like the score there. That'd be. I don't even know. That's just a crazy score. That's not the one you'd see every day.
The Chiefs' defense is really good. You can't let that go by the wayside. So, when you're looking at their defense, you look at our defense, at the turnover ratios. That's the only thing we've been good at this year. So you get those turnovers, you get good field position, you get down to the point where the Chiefs' defense is going to stop us from getting into the end zone. So, 5 field goals. McPherson hitting them all.
So how do you call that a recovery for Jake Browning? Is my question. You said that was the key to victory.
He's not gonna make dumb throws.
But if he doesn't score touchdowns, then it's not really recovering, is it?
He can still throw for 300 yards, Zach, but just not have a touchdown throw.
We've seen that before. We've seen the Bengals win a game 21-17, and what was it, 7 field goals?
Yeah,
it's happened.
It's the Bengals, Zach. Come on, it's our Who Day. Don't roll anything out.
Okay,
don't
Zach,
roll anything out.
Let me translate from Nick for you here. What Nick is saying is Jake Browning was like a D-. He's going to have a comeback to a C+.
B-.
That's C+, B-, somewhere in that range.
B-, you still got to throw a touchdown to get a B-. You threw a
You
touchdown last week.
You don't have to.
He didn't have to last week, and he still did it on Saturday,
Yeah.
and still scored a D+. Or a D-.
C++. That's what we'll go with there. C++. Okay, we're all happy now. He gets that 86 or whatever for high school grades are for college. Like, what is that like? I don't even know. But basically, he gets that little tiny margin.
Math.
Yeah, whatever. I don't math anymore. Anyways, I'll go ahead and kick off final thoughts, and I'll let Nick or Zach wrap it up, whoever decides to kick it to who. But my final thoughts, hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season thus far, has a good new year. Come up with some resolutions, find some things you want to do. Talking Bengals, we got some things we're thinking about, we're talking about. We're going to bring you some great new content in the new year. Other than that, that's what I got for my final thoughts. Have a safe time. Don't do anything dumb. And we'll see you in 2024. Josh?
All right, final thoughts. Let's go Who Dey. Let's hope that they can pull out the win, keep themselves alive in the AFC playoff push. Definitely have a very safe new year. Yeah, about it. I'll pass it off to Burns.
Well, I'm pulling it up right now. Guys, it's 2023, almost 2024. This is Uber. If you do something crazy on Sunday, call an Uber so you get home safely. Your family cares about you. Your friends care about you. Okay? It's not worth it. It's not. It never is. You think you're good? Don't risk it. Okay? Happy Who Dey New Year to everybody. Look forward to seeing what transpires in 2024 for each of you to include this program. I love every single one of you guys. And Nick, kick us out, man.
Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate you guys all being here and being valued listeners each and every week. And again, I'm going to throw my pitch out there. Make sure we're following us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all your social medias. Mainly YouTube. I am making a big push on YouTube because we can have live podcasts if we were able to get those get those live podcasts. We have those interactions with you. We're able to answer your questions live. We're also able to bring in people live. So those are also options. So a little bit more engagement with you. So please follow us on YouTube. Happy Who Day New Year. Don't drink and drive.
So remember, at YouTube and Instagram, that is talking_Bengals. On Facebook and Twitter, that is at Talking Bengals. You can find all of it on Beacons. That makes life so much easier for you. So if you look at our Facebook, go to our Beacons page, you can find everywhere we are. So thank you for listening, and Who Dey.
Who Day.
Who Dey?
Who Dey, baby?